pricing challenges, buyer challenges, and slim investment opportunities, the rules have definitely changed in 2024. Heading into 2025. And if you're thinking of selling your home, or if you're even trying to invest in the current real estate market, you're going to want to stick around, and I'll cover some housing market info as we finish out this year. Now, if you have sold or have tried to sell your home this year, I'm sure you felt the change from just a few years ago when homes were selling at record prices and the minute they even went on the market. Now the days on market is longer, we're seeing many price reductions, and the buyers, they're just not out there in abundance with the interest rates the way that they are. Well, let's start with the big picture here. The 2024 housing market is a lot more balanced than that frenzy we saw back in 2021 and 2022, but it's still a very unique environment with its own challenges. Now, here's what's shaping up the housing market this year. Obviously, mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are hovering around 7%, higher than the rock bottom rates we saw during the pandemic. According to Housing Wire, predictions for interest rates are to stay in the 6% range throughout most of 2025. This will impact a buyer's affordability, obviously. And let's face it, as I tell my clients all the time as well, I really do not see us getting back to those 2-3% rates really ever again. And for us older people anyway, we all remember when interest rates were around 18%, and that was the norm. And I do remember not too long ago, 7% was actually looked at as a great interest rate. Another thing in the housing market, the buyer hesitation. Many buyers are cautious, or they're waiting for rates to drop or more homes to even hit the market. This has created a more deliberate market where buyers take their time to compare options out there. Just last month, most of the feedback that I received from the listings I had on the market was that the buyers had the home on what they called the short list, but they had a few more homes to see and were waiting to decide on that. Anyway, that's way different than a few years ago where you couldn't even leave the house and you had to call the agent and pretty much get an offer sent over right away. Now, what about home prices? Prices, they're stabilizing in many markets, but remain high in others. And if you're in an area where prices are softening, pricing your home competitively is key. And if you're investing, you may find opportunities in the markets where sellers are very motivated. And inventory levels, we're still seeing historically low inventory, which means that despite a buyer's caution to put an offer in, homes in good condition and priced right, they're still selling rather quickly. So whether you're selling or investing, the way you approach this current housing market matters more than ever. And if you need a good real estate agent to help you out, my contact link is down below. I can set you up with somebody in your area. If you're a seller, let's face it, the market isn't as easy as it was during the pandemic. Buyers are no longer throwing money at anything with four walls. And here's what you need to do to really stand out in the market going into 2025. Now, you need to price your home correctly, as the days of pricing high to see what happens, they're pretty much over. And the buyers, they have more tools than ever to evaluate a home's worth. Everybody now has access to sites like Zillow and Redfin, just to name a few. And overpricing your home will leave your home sitting on the market, making it look less desirable. And I mean, everybody sees a home that's even sitting on now for 30 days, and the first thing they ask is, what is wrong with it? So keep that in mind. And this is why you do see so many price reductions out there. And if you're following your neighborhood, just take note of the activity and understand what your competition is doing, and work with a good professional agent to help you set a competitive price. You also need to focus on presentation. First impressions really do matter, and homes that are clean, decluttered, and staged actually sell faster and often for more money. And I did a video on decluttering, and I will share that in the link down below. But think about low-cost upgrades that offer a high return on investment, or ROI. First off, fresh neutral paint. Paint is one of the best return on investments that you can do. Also, do some landscaping to boost curb appeal. And I don't mean a full-blown high-end water feature and retaining walls. Just add some mulch, clean up things, trim bushes and trees, as buyers' first impression is the curb appeal of the home. Maybe even do some new flooring if need be, but again, your agent should be able to walk you through all this. You also may need to address some repairs before you list. Buyers are so hesitant to take on fixer-uppers right now, and it's costing enough for them just to get the home, and most do not have the money left over to do the improvements they would like to do. And if your home has deferred maintenance like an aging roof, maybe an outdated HVAC system, or plumbing issues, consider addressing these before you list. You will attract more offers, or if anything, just plan to offer some type of concessions to the buyers. Buyers are looking for value and move-in ready homes. Most, like I just said, they do not want to take on any projects. Also, the buyers that are out shopping do have a lot more choices now. And as a seller, you need to also know that according to Redfin, housing supply actually ended up 12% higher year over year at the end of 2024. Now, one thing to help understand when it comes to the selling process, I tell my clients selling a home is emotional and it's personal, but when you're buying, it is business, and just try not to get upset or worked up when those offers come in that are below your expectations, especially if you've lived there for years. Just take some time, process those offers, as it's both a financial and a big personal decision. Now let's shift gears to those real estate investors. Whether you're flipping homes or building a rental portfolio, or you're just getting started, going into 2025 has a lot to offer, but it's not without some challenges. And according to an article in Housing Wire, investor purchases are shrinking out there. Since home prices, they're not going up as fast, most investors who flip, this is hurting their business model. Also, in this article from Housing Wire, they go on to say investor purchases peaked in June 2021 at 148,670, and according to CoreLogic, in September 2024, investor purchases sat at 75,442. So you can see how much change has actually happened. Now, you still can find deals in a tight market. Even though inventory is still low, there are still motivated sellers out there, particularly in the markets where affordability is a big issue or where sellers are struggling to offload their properties. Now, some things you can look for as an investor out there: look at those homes that have been on the market for 90 plus days, let's say. Maybe see if the seller's offering any kind of concessions. Also, distressed properties that are in need of cosmetic upgrades. Those are all types of things that you can be out there looking for in this market. Now let's take a look at the rental side of all this. The rental market is still hot, but it is changing a bit in some areas. With home ownership out of reach for many, rental demand is actually skyrocketing. And according to Redfin, renters are moving less than ever, with a third of those staying in the same home. Now, you want to focus when you're buying properties to rent on areas with strong job markets and population growth, and make sure that you're calculating for positive cash flow after accounting for today's higher mortgage rates as well. Also, if you're trying to get into some real estate opportunities, there are creative financing options out there as well. And if traditional loans feel too costly, you can consider these types of alternatives. Now, one is owner financing, where you can just go negotiate the terms directly with those sellers, and you'll be surprised how many people are starting to do this more and more with the way the current market is. Now, there are hard money loans out there, and these can be great for those short-term flips, but they do come with higher rates and fees, so run your numbers carefully when you're considering that. Now, another thing that I've seen some people do are form some partnerships and teaming up with other investors so they can spread the risk and open doors to some bigger opportunities. Now, one thing you want to be is cautious of over leveraging yourself. This right now in this market isn't the time to gamble, and the high rates mean holding costs add up quickly, so keep that in mind and make sure your investment has multiple exit strategies. And some of those, can you sell it quickly if you needed to? And also, if you can't sell it, is it a good rental property if the flipping part of it doesn't work? And also remember, real estate investing is a numbers game. So focus on deals where the math works, even if the market shifts. But just don't be chasing deals because that will get you in trouble in the long run. Now, both home sellers and investors face challenges in 2025. And here are the big ones that we need to keep an eye on. Are we going to have possible appraisal issues? With buyers stretching to afford homes, appraisals might not meet agreed upon prices. Sellers, you may need to be prepared to negotiate or accept a lower offer. And investors, you need to keep this in mind when you're calculating your ARV or your after repair values out there. Now, what about market volatility? We've seen a more stable market recently, but we have these unpredictable economic factors like inflation, sudden rate hikes that could really shake things up still. So always keep that buffer in your budget as an investor. Now, another thing you need to think about are all these changing regulations that have gone on. And investors, especially, you need to stay on top of your local laws as there are changes in short-term rentals all the time. We have increased property taxes going on, and we also have stricter tenant protections, which can impact your bottom line. So just be careful and stay informed. Now, here's what you need to remember. For sellers, price competitively, invest in key updates, and understand your target buyer in your area. And for investors, look for undervalued properties, leverage creative financing, and always plan for unexpected costs. And for everyone, stay informed all the time as the market is continually evolving and knowledge is your greatest asset. So there you have it. The 2024 housing market going into 25 in a nutshell. It's still a housing market that's full of opportunities, but success will come down to preparation and strategy on all ends. And I hope you found this video beneficial, and if so, please share it with somebody else who you think could benefit from it. And also, if you ever have questions about real estate or you're looking for a good agent out in your area, my contact link is down below. And stay tuned for this next video that's coming up next, and we'll see you next time.